to the notes and let's just see if we agree to what we were going to do. So your notes should have said something to the effect.
We didn't get that far. We ended at trinomial factor.
That's right. So this is the one. Wait a minute. I know I gave you this particular problem. 4x cubed plus 12x squared minus 8x.
Yeah.
Okay? And you had to find the greatest common factor, and in this particular problem, the greatest common factor, we start by looking at the numbers. We had a 4, a 12, and an 8. And the greatest common factor of 4, 12, and 8 is 4. Okay, and then I go and look at the x's. And I had, this is x to the third. I remember doing this problem on the board with you, because x to the third means, actually, it's right here, x to the third means I have 3 x's, here I have 2 x's, and here I have 1 x. The question is, what do they have in common? That's what we mean when we say the greatest common factor. Okay? Sometimes in mathematics, there's a lot of language in mathematics. And we use the language, and sometimes we don't hear the words. And we are looking for the greatest common factor. What is the biggest number? So in this case, we decided they all had one common. This one has an x, and this one has 2 x's, but that one only has 1. So I can only deal with what they have in common.
Yeah, but
okay?
Going to the homework.
Okay, so let me just,
okay,
I'll go to the homework in a second. What?
Okay, so on number 1.
Wait a minute, I'm still here. I'm not on the homework yet.
But those notes, they don't like transfer.
Yeah,
okay.
Like,
yeah.
When I said, so can I give this problem, it just helps you understand
Which
what
one?
I don't understand. Okay, number 1, it would be 3x squared minus 75, and I would think the common factor is 3.
Yeah.
So I think the answer you're looking for would be 3
Yeah.
parentheses x squared minus 25.
Got it.
But it's not an answer.
Got it. Okay. I understand completely now what your problem was.
Yes.
Okay. All right, I understand completely. And I didn't realize that in looking at, all right, so number 1, you're absolutely right. You cannot do number 1. I haven't taught you that. Okay.
Pretty much
so
the whole thing.
number 1, number 2.
We like the whole thing. We didn't finish learning how to do it.
Okay. I stand corrected. I totally stand corrected. Okay? I stand corrected. I apologize. All right? So you can't do this worksheet. So let's continue with the lesson, and then maybe we can continue. All right. Woo. Sorry. I'm bad.
I figured out how to solve it for the answers.
How about number 9?
I don't know.
No, well, no. Okay.
That was like 3x
Okay.
5 squared.
I apologize. I'm sorry.
That wasn't over there, so I was just like,
You know what?
where is it?
It's really confusing, and I really try very hard to make this as clear as possible. And I really apologize for putting that one sheet.
Just like she said, we should
Reminded me to
Yeah.
ask it.
Okay. So let's go.
Look, there's like 3 steps we didn't do. I'm explaining why.
Oh, no, I didn't expect that worksheet. I looked at it quickly. I looked at the bottom, and I think the bottom says to factor with and I didn't look at it carefully, so it was just, I gave you the wrong worksheet. Okay, so I'm going to turn the lights off, and let's see if this makes sense to you. Okay, so in this one, I asked you to write is, look at the last term of perfect square, and it's not. And there's a reason why I'm asking you that, because we will be dealing with problems that are perfect squares, and we're going to do a slightly different process. Okay, so step 1 is, look, is the last term a perfect square? And 12 is not a perfect square, so we need to find the factors of 12, okay, which is the last term. And the factors of 12, and we actually, and I'm going to just move this over, we're actually going to be doing 2 things. We're looking for the factors of 12 that their sum will combine to the middle term. And so I'm going to just move this, I'm going to zoom out a little bit so that you can see what I mean. The middle term on this problem was 7x. So we're looking for the factors of 12 that when combined will give me 7x. And clearly, there's nothing I could do with 1 and 12. There's no, the 2 and the 6 don't work, and the only one that will work is 3 and 4. Okay? So I know that the factors are going to be 3 and 4. So I have found the middle terms.
When you say combined, is that added?
Added. And it could be positive or it could be negative, because when I'm combining a -2 and a -4, -2 and a -4 is a -6. Okay, so I'm going to give you a problem. I'm going to show you a negative problem as well. All right, so find the factors of 12 that combine to make the middle term 7x, and we decided that the factors were what? 3 and 4. Okay, and I'm going to ask you to do this. Many of you are going to be able to do this mentally. You're not going to have to draw this out. But when we get to some of the more complicated problems that we're going to be factoring, the area model, in my opinion, is the easiest way to solve the problem. I will teach you 3 different ways to solve it, because some people don't like the area model. And so for me, the area model is the easiest, but it may not necessarily be for you. Okay? I'm going to show you what I mean by the area model in a second. So I'm going to draw an area model, and so I know that x squared is always in this first box, and the 12 is always going to be in this corner. Right? So I'm going to plug in. Pardon me?
Is this step 4?
Yes. Actually, sorry. It says step 4. So draw the area model and plug in the first and the last terms in boxes 1 and 3. And then I'm plugging in the 3x and the 4x in the other 2 boxes. It does not matter which. I could put the 3x here and the 4x there. I could put the 4x here and the 3x here. It doesn't matter.
So step 5 is plugged in.
Yes, so step 5 is plug in factors 3, 4 in the other boxes, the 2 remaining boxes.
But would you break it up as x plus 4 and x plus 3?
I know that they're both positive, so I didn't write the plus signs in.
Do you plug in 3x and 4x or
Yes.
3 and 4?
3x and 4x, because they have to combine to be 7x. Okay? So I should have a box that looks like this. So I have x squared and 12x and 3x and 4x. And this works every single time. For every polynomial, trinomial that we will factor, this will work, and it's an easy process. And so that's why I'm teaching it to you. I think it will avoid a lot of confusion later on. Michael?
Why'd you put it in a new box instead of the same box?
I just moved it over to show you.
Oh.
So x squared and 12, you always go, this goes in the first box, this goes in that third box, and then you plug the other 2 in. So that's what your finished box should look like, okay? And then we're going to find the GCF. Okay, what does GCF stand for? Greatest common factor. So I'm just looking across here, x squared and 4x. What do they have in common?
X.
X. Okay, so I know that the GCF is x. And what about over here, 3x and 12? What do they have in common? What? 3. Okay, guess what? I now have one of the binomials that when multiplied will have to find the other one. Well, x times what gives me x squared?
X.
X. X times what is going to give me 4x? 4. I have the binomial. So x plus 3 times x plus 4 should equal, what was it, x squared plus 7x plus 12? And I'm going to check that. Okay, so x times x is x squared. X times 4 is 4x. 3 times
use
x
FOIL
is
to
3x. I could FOIL it. I'm doing the distributive property. 3 times 4 is 12. X squared plus 7x plus 12. Okay? So many of you will be able to do these simple ones mentally. You will not need to do the area model.
Do we have to write it the area model just to get in the habit of it?
I'm suggesting that you do that, and I'm suggesting that you learn how to do it. To me, once you have the box made, and the hardest thing was to figure out, oh, what were the factors, and once I have that, it's as easy as pie. Okay, bad pun, but, okay, question, Stephen?
What was step 5?
Step 5,
factors,
plug in the factors, 3 and 4 in the other boxes. So we just plugged them in. Questions? Anybody else have a question?
If there's a number like outside it, for example, on the homework, if you did like,
Oh, well, I'm not there yet. That's a whole nother kettle of fish.
okay,
Please wait.
you have to do it differently.
Yes,
Okay.
slightly differently. Okay? All right. So here's an example, and I'd like to do this problem with you. Yes.
So what is the point of factor?
Yeah, does it?
Good question. Good question.
solve for X?
We are absolutely, we are going to be looking for the x's. And there are specific locations of the x that we're going to be looking for. And this, I mean, you're right, we can look at a graphing calculator